Kevin had gone to LA for business. And I hired a PI. Yes, I did. I hired a PI to follow my husband. And this guy is telling me that Kevin is in Miami with the girl. This is where you show the picture of them on the beach. You know the picture where she's going to the camera and he's laying there on the cell phone like they're chilling like a couple. You understand what I'm saying? The PI was taking pictures of them going to the gym, going to dinner, her with Gucci, Poochie, and Lucci.
So I'm not gonna take a lot of time because, you know, I'm getting emotional. And I told myself I wasn't gonna do this.
Sharina Hudson finally realized she was chasing the wrong dream all along. What went down between her and Kevin Hunter is wild, because everybody knew they were planning to post up together using Wendy's money without a second thought. But ever since Wendy stepped away from her show and got pushed into that tough guardianship situation, Kevin's cash flow dried up fast. He started firing off lawsuits left and right, trying every move he could to get Wendy to bankroll his lifestyle again. But after his most recent lawsuit got tossed out of court, people started saying Kevin bounced on Shireena the same way he dipped on Wendy, and that shook the whole internet. Nobody even knew where Shireena disappeared to. While Kevin was out there dragging his paperwork from courthouse to courthouse, Shireena shut down her Instagram and vanished, like she was avoiding the whole world. And now we're finally hearing what she's been hiding all these months, and trust me, it wasn't giving till death do us part. Meanwhile, Wendy has been dealing with way too much, trying to end a guardianship she didn't ask for and didn't deserve. A new medical evaluation even confirmed that Wendy was never sick and never had dementia, which was the whole reason she was kept under that strict guardianship for over 3 years. That changed everything. It's looking like a whole lineup of people, from the judge to the former manager to the doctor to Wells Fargo, and even the guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, were all moving in sync to make sure Wendy couldn't reach her own money. That situation had everyone talking nonstop because it felt like the deck was stacked against her from every angle. And let me tell you, karma really pulled up for this situation with no hesitation. With this new info finally out in the open, Wendy might actually get the chance to shut down this whole messy guardianship and leave all that stress behind her for good. But that doesn't mean she's jumping back on TV or grabbing her primetime spot again anytime soon, because that recovery and freedom come first. Wendy stepping away from work hit everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean even the folks who couldn't stand her were affected. And yes, that includes Kevin Hunter and his partner, Shireena, because their setup depended heavy on Wendy working. When Wendy walked away from the Wendy Williams show, she took a major income loss, and that changed everything. Because of that drop, Kevin couldn't collect any alimony at all. Their divorce agreement had a tight clause saying that if Wendy's contract ever got paused or not renewed, she wouldn't have to pay him 1 cent in alimony, and that kicked in instantly. Whoever made sure that clause was in the paperwork was a genius, because it's clear Kevin planned to lean on Wendy's income forever, and that plan got shut down quick.
But what I needed at the time, because I was running 100 miles an hour, and I was so much of a strong support structure for her and all the dreams that she wanted to accomplish, I needed somebody for me. And my new offspring, my daughter, who is a beautiful, beautiful spirit, she was not a oops baby. She was not a mistake baby.
Kevin allegedly got a big lump sum payout from Wendy in their divorce, plus a monthly alimony check sitting at around $250,000, which is wild. But he never stopped to think that life could switch up on him or that the money flow could ever slow down. So the moment those alimony checks stopped, he rushed right back to court trying to find a way to make Wendy support him again. In 2022, he filed that lawsuit hoping he could restart the payments fast. He claimed that without those checks, he was completely broke and falling behind on everything. He said he was buried in debt, and even the neighborhood he lived in required homeowner association payments he couldn't keep up with. Because of that, he was facing possible foreclosure, and that shook him heavy. He even said he couldn't pay his car insurance for those luxury rides he liked to flex in so much, and on top of that, he admitted he was behind on his credit card payments once the money stopped coming in. by the time he filed that lawsuit, things must have been going downhill fast because he ended up taking loans out on 2 of his high-end cars with a company called Flex Wealth. And when things got even tighter, he had no choice but to put the home he shared with Shireena, their lover's pad, up for sale because he couldn't afford to maintain anything without Wendy's money holding it all together. At that point, Kevin and Shireena were basically out here with no real place to land, and things were looking rough. His lawsuit didn't help at all because the court tossed it out without a second thought. But Kevin didn't slow down. By 2024, he popped back up with a brand new claim saying that Wendy had supposedly hidden over $48 million from him during their divorce and demanding the whole divorce be reopened. The court wasn't rocking with him one bit, and it was wild seeing how far he was willing to go just to squeeze more money out of Wendy again. But he didn't stop there. Earlier this year, he filed another lawsuit, this time asking for $250 million in damages against Wells Fargo, her guardian, and a whole lineup of people tied to her guardianship situation. Kevin tried to spin it like he was doing this for Wendy, saying her constitutional rights were violated and that he was misled and mistreated by the court-appointed guardians. So he went from suing Wendy directly to suing everybody who had any link to her accounts, flipping the whole script like he was suddenly the hero in the story. But once you put personal opinions about Kevin to the side, this lawsuit placked open a whole lot of details. It exposed just how deep the planning went behind the scenes. Wells Fargo, the judge, her guardian, and several folks in her circle seemed to be moving together in a way that made it look like they were trying to lock down everything Wendy had worked for. The whole situation showed layers people never expected, and it had everyone looking at that guardianship with a brand new questions and a whole lot of suspicion. But even with Kevin's lawsuit exposing what was happening behind the curtain, people are still giving him serious side-eye because nobody believes he's doing all this just to protect Wendy. He's not her husband anymore, he doesn't have power of attorney, and he can't file anything on behalf of his son since he's an adult now. So this move wasn't loyalty, it was a straight-up attempt to grab money, and not even a smooth one. If anything, this whole situation shows how desperate things must be for Kevin if he's coming up with all these creative schemes to pull cash from Wendy by any means necessary. And sources are saying it's not only Kevin's wallet taking hits, his relationship with Shireena started cracking too once the money dried up. As the financial pressure started creeping in, Shireena and Kevin were reportedly arguing about what their next move should be. And honestly, it makes sense because the whole reason Shireena linked up with Kevin in the first place was to live that soft, easy life. But now that the money wasn't flowing, everything changed fast. Even Sharina Hudson had to get up and grind. She started pushing her vegan food business, but it wasn't bringing in real money, and she had to hustle even harder. She went and got her real estate license and started selling homes in Florida just to keep things afloat. The shift from luxury living to scrambling for income hit both of them hard, and it showed just how much their whole setup depended on Wendy's success from day one. As the pressure kept stacking up, people close to the situation say Shireena started realizing the lifestyle she signed up for was slipping right through her fingers. And instead of standing by Kevin through the storm, word on the street is that she started pulling back, acting distant, and questioning whether sticking with him was even worth it anymore. Sources claim Shireena was telling friends that she didn't sign up for struggle love, and that hit Kevin hard because he was already stressed about the bills piling up. Their once cute, glossy relationship started turning into late-night arguments, slammed doors, and tension every day because nothing was adding up anymore. And while Shireena was out there trying to build her own income, insiders say she also started seeing that Kevin wasn't bringing anything to the table anymore. Without Wendy's money powering his lifestyle, he wasn't the same big spender he used to be, and that shift completely changed how Shireena looked at him. People in their circle even said Shireena started staying out longer, finding excuses to not be home because she couldn't deal with Kevin's constant stress, complaints, and financial problems. She wanted that easy life, that soft life, but instead she was stuck shoulder to shoulder with overdue bills, repossession notices, and a man who kept trying to sue everybody instead of leveling up on his own. Rumors started floating that Shireena began planning her exit quietly, moving her things little by little while keeping a smile on social media like nothing was wrong. But behind the scenes, she was trying to figure out how to detach herself from Kevin without the whole situation turning messy and public. And according to people close to her, she was done, emotionally checked out, ready to walk away and determined not to sink with a ship that was already halfway underwater. While Shireena was quietly slipping out the back door, Kevin was out here trying to act like everything was fine, but insiders say he knew she was drifting away. And instead of trying to fix their situation, he doubled down on his old habits, pointing fingers, blaming everyone but himself, and insisting that once he won the lawsuits, everything would go back to normal. But nothing was normal anymore, and everyone could see it. Folks close to Kevin say he started spiraling, calling people nonstop, trying to borrow money, looking for any kind of lifeline. He was telling friends that Shireena was switching up on him when he needed him most, but those same friends were saying he needed to face the reality that Shireena wasn't trying to struggle beside him, especially not when his problems kept piling higher every week. Meanwhile, Shireena was already moving different. She was focused on her real estate hustle, networking, getting dressed up for open houses, and trying to build a new life that didn't include chasing lawsuits or stressing over overdue bills. She was smiling more, dressing up more, and people noticed she seemed lighter whenever Kevin wasn't around. Insiders even said she stopped inviting him to events because she didn't want to show up with a man who was drowning in financial drama and legal battles. She wanted that polished, pretty, peaceful life, and Kevin wasn't giving her any of that anymore. And when the word got out that the Lovers Pad was officially on the market, people in their circles said that was the moment Shireena mentally checked out for good. She saw the home go up for sale and realized the whole fantasy she had with Kevin was fading fast, and she wasn't going to hold on to a dream that was already falling apart piece by piece. Reports are also saying that Kevin hasn't paid any child support and doesn't plan to until he gets his money back to how it used to be, which has people looking at him sideways again. And when all this drama kept heating up, Shireena locked her Instagram down and, according to insiders, moved back in with her mother so she could get her finances straight. Now she's reappeared online, but the vibe is totally different. She's pushing her business heavy, telling people to hire her as a real estate agent, and even promoting some gut health medicine she created. She completely switched up her whole aesthetic. Gone are the soft life captions and luxury lifestyle posts. Now it's all about grinding, selling her skills, and keeping herself and her daughter steady. People close to the situation are whispering that Kevin and Shireena have quietly gone their separate ways, but no one can officially confirm it yet. Still, watching their relationship fall apart like this has people saying karma, because some people feel there was no way Shireena really thought she could build a luxury future off another woman's success. But hey, life hits different when the money dries up, and it looks like both of them had to face that reality head.
You left your wife. Now, we may not care about her on the show. That's different. But you left your wife, got you a side piece, had a baby, and was living a whole different life. And evidently Wendy Williams was the real bread maker. Because now you can't live that lifestyle without that check. The grass wasn't greener, huh?